Hi, it's David here with DG Sessions, and today I'd like to take the opportunity to talk to you about something new, a little bit of news in the guitar gear world. This! Kemper, on their social media, appear to have announced that something is on the way. Now, this is the first time I've ever noticed Kemper to hint at anything even relating towards a 2.0 Kemper. Now, this is not to say that this is confirmed by Kemper. There may well be any number of things that this could be related to. This could be perhaps a plugin. This could be related to a firmware update, perhaps for something like the Profiler player or some new effects or any number of other things this could be related to. But it does seem to be hinting towards perhaps a brand new flagship Kemper 2.0. Now, as somebody who purchased a Kemper this year in 2024, I am absolutely delighted that Kemper might be coming up with a new updated version after 12 years of being absolutely ecstatic with my current Kemper. I've been a Kemper fan for a long time. I've always been happy with the results that they get me on stage. So I'd love to see what they're going to do with a 2.0 version. I thought I'd take this opportunity now to discuss some of the things that perhaps I'd like to see in a Kemper 2.0, some of the things that I'm expecting to see in a Kemper 2.0, and perhaps some of the things that I would like to see Kemper maybe avoid falling into the trap of doing that I've seen some of the other modelers do in recent times. So first of all, some of the things that I would like to see in a Kemper 2.0. I would definitely love to see a continuation of the powered Kemper line. Now, this is something that I am genuinely a little bit worried that they might be trying to get rid of or considering getting rid of. But they are actually the only modeler currently that offer a powered option in their lineup. The powered Kemper, the powered toaster, and the power rack are currently the only units which operate as essentially an all-in-one modeler with your effects, your power amp, and your modeling all in one unit, and all stuff that you can run off one plug, which is a big deal for me, as a lot of the gigs I play, power sockets are usually at a premium. So the idea that I can do everything all off one plug is a big deal for me without having to worry about power distribution or running extension cables and things like that. I love the fact that I can just run my entire Kemper rig off one plug, and I really hope that the powered option is something that they continue, because it's something that makes them unique compared to all the other modeling companies. None of the others seem to offer that available at the moment. In all honesty, I'd like to see more modeling companies offer a powered option, but it just doesn't seem to be something that things seem to be moving more towards smaller and smaller and smaller and less inside. So I kind of want to see Kemper stick to their guns a little bit and include a definite all-in-one option if we are looking at a 2.0 lineup as opposed to perhaps a 2.0 single product. Another thing that I'd like to see Kemper perhaps explore a little bit more is the idea of the Profiler player. This is their most recent release, a small compact pedal unit which will load Kemper profiles and a number of effects. I don't think it includes all the effects available in the flagship sort of rack, the toaster, and the stage units, but certainly enough to get you through a gig and be a very usable unit. But it does not profile. You are not able to capture your own amplifiers with it, and this is something that I'd like to see Kemper do perhaps a little bit further up the line as well. I'd like to see a very top-end, high-feature Kemper without the ability to profile. I'd like to see that sort of break off a little bit more, and perhaps see Kemper going into two different product markets, with the people who want to profile, keeping the profiling hardware separate from the actual Kemper playing software. So those who want to use the profiles would buy one unit. Those who want to profile, you could have the entirety of the hardware in its own unit. So you would buy a profiler which just profiles. That's something that I'd like to see a little bit further down the line, maybe not for 2.0, but I certainly hope it's something they're going to think about exploring a little bit more, because I think that's a good way to not necessarily just bring costs down, because that's always a benefit to the end user, but I think we'll be able to see a simplification of things like the user interface, make things just a little bit easier for everyone to use if they've not got to include all the controls and the selections for profiling as well as the use of the amp. Which leads me to another thing that I would like to see perhaps explored as far as a range goes. I think a Kemper amplifier would be a really interesting way to go for those that are perhaps not as keen to explore the effects side of the Kemper, or maybe they've got a little bit more demanding needs with regards to their effects. So the idea of being able to just load a profile onto an amplifier and just have it function as an amplifier. With the liquid profiling that's available now with even the current Kemper operating systems, there's no reason why you couldn't have an amplifier loaded into a Kemper and just have the buttons and the knobs function as they would on that amplifier. And you could hit another button and then switch to another amplifier if needs be. That's something that I'd like to see. So perhaps no effects, just pure amplification, and then perhaps in a more flagship model include all the effects as well. I think there's some kind of a little bit more obvious updates that I think a lot of people would like to see on the Kemper, considering the original unit's now 12 years old. I think we'd like to see things like an update to the user interface, an update to the things like the screen, perhaps the update process, those kind of things that have just moved on a little bit. Technology's moved on a little bit, so including those would be a little bit of a no-brainer. I think that's something that we not only would I like to see, but I'm kind of expecting to see. Things like perhaps a touch screen. I don't think it's as much of a deal breaker as a lot of people seem to like. A lot of people like to have app control and things like that, which is a nice addition to have. But for me, it's not a deal breaker. Certainly not with the way that the Kemper works. It's nice to be able to adjust things with an app for convenience, perhaps in a break during a gig or something like that. But it's not going to be a deal breaker for me. And considering the functionality is basically there for a lot of the units anyway. I imagine that's something that we would see with a Kemper 2.0 as well. Now, some of the things that I don't want to see. I certainly do not want to see Kemper relying on an application. It's not something that I've seen in the higher end modeling, but certainly something like the Spark. There's a lot of reliance on editing using an app or perhaps a computer program or anything like that. I think one of the great things about the Kemper is the fact that you can edit things on the unit itself. So if situations do get difficult and something's gone completely wrong, you are able to just turn around, and if you know your way around the Kemper interface, you can edit things to the way you want them to. You can set yourself up quite quickly. So that's something I'd like to see as well, making sure that the Kemper itself can operate just as a standalone unit. I don't want to have to incorporate some computer or application style editing. I'd just like to see it available for when I want to use it, and not have it completely necessary for all the editing. So that's something that I'd like to see. Another thing, I don't want to see the Kemper going down the route of just smaller. I think there's definitely a market for those of us who want more features available in their modelers. To me, the Tonex is a perfect example of this. The Tonex itself, to me, was sort of like a bare minimum kind of thing that you could have. It had like a built-in reverb. It had a few buttons on it that you could kind of tweak with. You could do your capturing and everything and profiling on there. But then to come out with an even smaller version, which is basically just a single button and thing, I would much rather have seen them go the other way with it. I want to see a Tonex, like I want to see like an Amplitude Live. I want to see a load of effects built in. I want to see more functionality. I want to see XLR outs. I want to see a USB audio interface. I want to see stuff like that. I want everything to be nice and easy to do. Anything that I want to do with it, I want it to be nice and easy to do with it. So yeah, I'd like the Kemper to kind of remain sort of something that if I want to do something with it, it's there. That's the kind of thing that I want to see. So what do you guys want to see? What are you kind of thinking about with a Kemper 2.0? What's important for you guys? What about things with regards to a price point? What would you be expecting? Are you expecting a huge jump? Are you expecting a drop in the price of the original Kempers? What other things are you expecting? How about things like backwards compatibility? If Kemper are coming out with a 2.0 kind of system, does that mean that we want to see better profiling And if the 2.0 has better profiling, do we want it to be compatible with the older Kemper profiles? I mean, there are so many out there now, and some people really rely on those older profiles for their core sounds. You know, some people put a lot of work into getting them, and let's be honest, a lot of them are really good. They're perfectly usable. So I think it would be a shame if once 2.0 hits, we sort of lose access to all that entire back catalogue. I mean, that's one of the biggest things about Kemper, is that they have all this support from the community about all the amplifiers that have been profiled. So if a 2.0 were to come out, to exclude all that from the compatibility would be a real shame. So that's another thing that I think I'd like to see. Make sure Kemper includes some backwards compatibility with the older profiles. But it would be nicer if they do have the ability to make profiles a little bit more accurate, a little bit more organic, perhaps, a little bit, you know, if they've made any improvements or refinements in the process, it'd be a shame not to be able to incorporate those just to keep the backwards compatibility. So perhaps some sort of distinction between a newer 2.0 style of profile and also an older style original Kemper OS profile. So it'd be nice to see exactly how they tackle that issue if and when a Kemper 2.0 does finally appear. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you found this in any way interesting, then please do remember to hit like and subscribe. It lets me know that you like these kind of videos and I can make more of them. And hopefully I'll see you next time.